Welcome to the Love Seat podcast. Ladies, it's time to talk about love, life, and everything in between. Get ready for transparency, inspiring stories, expert advice, and exclusive interviews. This is the Love Seat podcast.
Lovely, lovely evening, and welcome to the Love Seat podcast. It's your girl, Carenda, Deonne, and I am showing you much, much love tonight. I am so glad that you joined us for the Love Seat podcast. And ladies, it's time to love yourself fully, freely, and of course, unconditionally. Oh my goodness. So get your tea ready, your coffee ready. And for some of you, if you want to wind down, get your glass of wine ready. We're going to have a great show tonight. Tonight, I have some amazing co-hosts, and I cannot wait to welcome them in. So without further ado, let's get started. So I want to first welcome Sherry Monet. So glad to see you. Yes, we put our hearts up because we are definitely showing love tonight. So good to see you. Coach Pam. Coach Pam is our other. Hey, Coach Pam. We got our hearts up tonight. All right. And then we have Andrea. Hey, Andrea. Much love, much love. And last but not least, we have Rose LaConte. Hey, Rose.
Hey.
We got our love going. Oh my gosh, ladies, I'm so excited. How are you all doing tonight?
Great. Great.
Yeah, we are live. It's our first show. So listeners, we're so glad that you've joined in. Welcome to the Love Seat podcast. And let me tell you, we have so much love to give to you. I hope you're ready. I mean, by the time the show is over, before the show is over, your cup and your heart is going to be overflowing with love. I'm telling you, I cannot wait. So please make sure to chat with us, give us comments, feedback, questions, tune in with us. We just want to hear from you. So ladies, listen, I got to say this before we get into our show. So when we scheduled this show, I did not realize that it was an off week for my hair to be done. So I was coming home stressing out. I'm like, Lord, do I have to wig it? I can't weave it because it was, it ain't enough time for that. But I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So I even went over to my sister-in-law and she gave me this hat. And so I was like, okay, maybe I can do the hat. So I came home, I put the hat on, and I was looking real Church of God in Christ. I know. I was ready for convocation. Y'all, I'm trying to tell you, I was ready for convocation. So I was like, Lord. So anyway, we just going with the flow. So, I'm just like, hey, all right, but you know how it is, ladies. You want to just make sure things are right. And then it's like, oh my gosh, those improvisions you have to do when it's time to get the hair did. But y'all look beautiful. Y'all look amazing tonight. And I'm so glad that you joined in. And we're so glad that you're here with us at the Love Seat podcast. And so, ladies, I want to ask you, how are you loving yourself tonight? How are you loving yourself?
Wow, good question. So I'm loving myself financially. I retired my boss, aka left my 9 to 5. I'm officially 100% entrepreneur, paying myself. Nobody can pay me better than me. So I'm loving myself right now.
I love it. Listen, I had to put my heart up on that. That's much love. Yes, absolutely. Coach Pam, how are you loving yourself tonight?
Well, I just came from vacation and I feel like I have the rest from the vacation. So I slept late today and then I did a few exercises to try to work off some of that good food I had on vacation.
Oh, I love it. Yes. Making time for exercise, making time for self-care and vacation. It's so important. I love it. Andrea, how are you loving yourself tonight?
Hello, ladies. I painted my house this weekend, so I'm proud of myself. Save a little money, so yeah.
Okay. Listen, you all will get to know Andrea, and we kind of go way back because we actually went to the same church together. But she is not playing when it comes to financial freedom. So Sherry, she is definitely on top of that budget and everything. Listen, Andrew, I hope you don't mind me saying this real quick. Rose, I'm gonna get to you. So we all went out not long ago, right? We had like a girls' dinner. So it was me, my bestie Janique. Shout out to Janique tonight. And so it was us and a few other ladies. And so it was time for us to pay. And so Andrea pulled out her envelope. She had her Dave Ramsey. She had her Dave Ramsey envelope, right? She pulled it out. She was like, I'm sorry, y'all, but I know my budget. This is what I'm spending when I'm eating out tonight. And we were like, hey, much respect. I loved it. I loved it. Absolutely. Rose Picante, how are you loving yourself tonight?
I am loving myself tonight by keeping a commitment to start to move more. What COVID did to all of us, put a little extra on us. So my goal was to just every day do something for myself and get moving. And so that's how I was loving myself today. I got to move. I just said, I'm going to do that walk.
Yeah, I love it. You know what? One thing that I did in loving myself, and I do this pretty much every day, but y'all know that song by Jill Scott, Living Myself Like It's Golden, Living My Life Like It's Golden.
Yes.
I just played that and was like, I just had to feel the two-step. I just had to feel that thing. It was wonderful. It was just good to just, hear those words and let those words resonate and move forward, with all determination and faith. And so, it's all good. So anyway, so ladies, I see, we have our mugs tonight because here at the Love Seat Podcast, we like to keep ourselves feeling real good. And so, listen, I don't know what y'all are drinking, but can I tell you all now? So my husband and I, we went to a restaurant called Web Custom Kitchen. Shout out to Web Custom Kitchen in Gastonia. And so I wanted me some hot tea because it was actually kind of cold in there. And so I don't know if you all can see it, but she brought this tea. I'm going to read it. It's called Wild Sweet Orange. Y'all, it's by Tazo or Tazo. Y'all heard that brand, T-A-Z?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good brand.
I'm just telling y'all need to get this in your life, okay? It's called Wild Sweet Orange, and it's everything. So yeah. So what are y'all having? Y'all having coffee? Y'all having tea? What y'all having?
Coffee right here.
Okay.
I'm just drinking water at this time.
Just drinking water. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with staying hydrated, Coach Pam. I love it. Well, listeners, we are so glad that you tuned in to the Love Seat Podcast. Again, we have so much love to give. This is our first initial show tonight, and we're so excited that you've joined us. We also want to definitely show some love to Ron. Thank you, Ron, our producer tonight for our show, who is holding it down for us, making sure we move this thing on with excellence. So mad love to him. But before we get into our show and have our co-hosts to just drop some knowledge and expertise with us, I want us to show some love to Associate Justice designate Ketanji Brown Jackson. Can we show her some love? She is soon to be Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. And so we just want to put our hearts up and just show her some love wherever she may be on her amazing achievement. And I don't know if you all, watched the hearings, but let me tell you, listen, I was praying for her. Y'all hear me? I was on my knees praying for her. Some of the things that were just being said and what they put her through, to be honest, it wasn't acceptable. It just wasn't. And so I'm just so glad that she has made history, well deserved, more than qualified. So soon to be Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. The Love Seat Podcast is sending you love tonight. We are sending you love tonight. So congrats on your awesome achievement. Moving on, ladies, it's time to talk a little bit about COVID and how COVID has affected the church. So let's kind of talk about this. And Sherry, I'll have you start us off. Do you think church will ever be back as normal? Do you think members are skeptical about coming back to church, or have we just gotten used to virtual church and being in our PJs? So what's your thoughts on on how COVID has affected the church?
Well, to me, God always defines normal. We don't. We just adapt to whatever He decides normal becomes. And I feel like this is a great opportunity for the church to evolve. Virtual reality is our reality. There's social media. There's so many ways for the church to get better. And now building more bridges to connect with more people. And I just feel like this is God's normal, and we have to adapt to it, just like we adapt to all of the normals that He changes in our environment.
Yeah, that's good. What do you think, Coach Pam? How do you feel?
No, I don't think the church will ever be the same again. I think, yes, this was God doing. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a way for people to get to know their neighbors, because a lot of people don't know their neighbors, even physical neighbors, because I personally didn't know mine until COVID happened. And I started walking around and I started getting to know the names of some of my neighbors.
Wow.
So, the Bible says, love your neighbors, you love yourself. So A lot of us don't even know our neighbors. And a lot of us, even though some of us traditionally been going to church all our lives, but are we really showing the fruit of the Spirit, like love, peace, joy? Are we really reaching out to others?
Yeah.
Whether you're inside the church or outside the church, you still can minister and show love towards other people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Andrea, what do you feel about the whole church and COVID? How it's affected? Do you think that churches need to get used to building on virtual membership? But what's your thoughts on everything?
I think the church needs to be flexible. And what I mean by being flexible, really thinking about everybody's needs. And so, for example, my church, they had church. You could watch it online, or you could go over a church member's house and watch it together because you don't want to be in a big crowd. Or you could come to the church. So I like the fact that they made it flexible to make people accommodate people to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, that is good. That is good. Come on, Rose. What you got? What you think? What do you think about the whole church and COVID and how it's affected the church?
I'm a little bit with Andrea on churches and should be flexible and be able to pivot according to the needs of their membership and the needs of the community. So, of course, virtual opened that door to allow those that would never step into a church to connect with a church and become a part of that that church and their fellowship. And then there's also the side that the Bible just tells us not to forsake the assembly. And the assembly means you grow and you're bonding together with those that you're in church with, and you need that. Sometimes you need someone to be able to actually lay hands on you, because I'm old school, lay hands on you and pray for you.
Yeah. Rosen, I'm old school.
When the time comes, we weren't laying hands on each other during COVID or assembling, but God knows what the new normal is going to look like, and we don't. But being able to be flexible and pivot and cover all the bases allow churches to grow memberships and to grow in their ministry. So I think that virtual church is here to stay, but I also know the four walls is also here to stay as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you all think that churches who are not maybe up to date with technology or really tapping in and growing the virtual membership, do you think that that will affect them long term?
Oh yeah. I mean, the church that I was going to definitely kind of made some wrong turns, along the lines of COVID, because everybody was struggling financially, and I think that there has to be an evolution. Consistently, there has to be an evolution, and the church is no different from that. And it's just adapting to what this environment is requiring these churches to now look like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all, I have been doing virtual church for a minute now. I know, and yes, Minister Carenda, yes, and I love the Lord, but I have been virtual with church. Now my husband and I did go recently, and y'all, I was so fidgety. I mean, I was like kind of tapping him. I'm like, God, they don't not singing or God, we've been sitting for a long time. It's just, I have to get used to just going back and the whole flow of service. I just have been, virtual. I've had my PJs on. I still have been participating in worship and the word, but I mean, you can get up, you can move around or whatever. And so, yeah, I've kind of gotten virtual church, I don't want to say addiction, but I surely am. I'm doing more virtual than I'm in person. And so, sometimes I'm like, well, Carenda, if you can go here and there, and if you don't have a problem traveling for work and doing this and that, then just saying. So okay. All right. Y'all gonna leave me on this island by myself. Okay.
I will say one thing. So when I go to church, a lot of people don't wear a mask. I wear my mask. And I'm talking about it's a big crowd. I'm like, no, I have to wear my mask. So don't feel alone. Everybody got different situations to feel comfortable.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That is true. And for the first time, Andrea, let me tell you. Now I wasn't at church. I was actually at a restaurant. I won't say the name. It's in Charlotte, but for the first time, I was approached about wearing my mask, and I've never been approached about wearing my mask. But this guy was like, why you have your mask on? And all you're doing is, pushing the germs out, and it doesn't work. But I had never experienced that, and so I'm like, darn. But I'm still wearing my mask. When I'm out and about, there are times I will admit, there are times I might slip, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't walk out, I don't have my mask, and I'll, go back and get my mask. But I think it's important. We still do have to be careful. But but the church is evolving, and we have to be open as it evolves. And I think churches should absolutely be open to growing in virtual membership. So I just wanted us to talk about that for a little bit, just to get your feedback on that. And so if you're just tuning in, I don't know where you've been, but welcome to the Love Seat Podcast. Welcome. This is our first show, and we are so excited that you have joined in with us tonight. And as I've stated before, we have so much love to give. And by the time the show is over or before the show ends, I know you will feel the love on tonight. And so up next, it is time to get Mo Rich with Sherry Monet. Sherry Monet, it is time for us to love our finances. So we can't wait to hear what you have for us tonight.
Okay, so we're going to take a little tour back into the land of Solomon. And what I'm going to talk about are the 3 basic principles that Solomon used to build the greatest financial kingdom of our time. No one will ever match what Solomon was able to do with finances during the time when his resources were extremely limited. So the principles that I have are called Doing Business with Solomon. And these 3 core principles are kind of what he used to build out his financial kingdom. And the first principle is thinking the Solomon way. And Proverbs 3:13-14 really kind of grasped his mentality. And basically, what Solomon understood first was that he needed God's wisdom, and he needed the knowledge that God was giving him. It was very important to his existence. And he didn't think about the riches that he already had, because David was his father, he was a king, he had amassed a wealth that no one had ever seen. And he just continued that, but he cared about getting God's wisdom and knowledge first. The second principle is that he understood that he needed the right guidance from the right source. He couldn't find success without knowing that he had to have a purpose, and he needed to have the proper network of wise counsel. And Proverbs 24:6 really goes through that process of what he was thinking about, gaining the right kind of counsel. Then the third principle is that he understood the value of strategic partnerships. His relationships with royalty like the Queen of Sheba and other friendly, kind-hearted, God-fearing kings and queens are who he chose to network with. And he used that trade business to become more powerful in his financial kingdom. And I think it not only did it put fluid assets into his own wealth, but it kept wars from breaking out too. And I just love how Ecclesiastes 4:9 kind of gives you that whole gist of really what he went through to build those relationships, because we really have to understand he was able to do this in a time where people were riding camels and going across deserts and taking months to reach a location with resources, with assets to trade. So it was really important for me on my business journey to understand from a biblical standpoint, because my corporation is a Bible based corporation. So Solomon was really, really key to me understanding that path. And I just feel like as an entrepreneur, even as a professional, it's really good to see things from Solomon's perspective when we are thinking about our finances.
That's good. I'm gonna put my heart up because yeah, that was good stuff. Listen, let me tell you all. Sherry is awesome at what she does, and when I tell you, if you don't know her story, her testimony, we definitely gotta have her share it. All of us, all of our testimonies, because they're so powerful. But when I tell you, this girl knows some finances, I'm like, okay, let me take some notes. So every time, let me tell you, every time Sherry starts talking, I have a pen and my notes ready, because I know she is going to really share some knowledge. And I think that is so important, especially as entrepreneurs, Sherry, before we gravitate in wanting all of these things, we definitely have to pray for wisdom, think the Solomon's way, and look at what he did. And everything you said was so powerful. And if you're starting a business, or you're an entrepreneur, congrats to that. But do not neglect wisdom. Do not, under any circumstances, neglect wisdom. And I know for all of us, or for those of us who are entrepreneurs or have done several ventures, we have definitely learned some things by maybe at times not using wisdom, or not having those strategic partnerships that we need. And I think that was really powerful, for us to like take inventory of our partnerships as well, business partnerships. It's good that we can go shopping, but who's your strategic partner when it comes to business? Just saying. But anyway, y'all have anything to add to that? Because Sherry, that was good stuff.
That was good stuff, Sherry. What I love about being an entrepreneur is really being able to learn from others that have been successful in their business and in their finances. And then being able to mentor others and pass that along. It's so key, because if you're not seeking wisdom for yourself, at least reach out to someone that
Yeah.
is financially prudent or is wise in those areas, not even just finances, but relationships or whatever the situation might be. I say if you're not reading the Bible, talk to somebody that is reading the Bible to help you along with with some of the principles. But that is key, is seeking wisdom and seeking out those that are seeking wisdom as well.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, if you are wanting to, get your credit cleared up, or get information on just, the Solomon's way of doing your finances, or thinking of expanding in your finances, definitely connect with Sherry Monet. And so her handles, yes, her handles are up there. Yes, she's got the tools and she's got the evidence. Y'all hear that? She got the tools and the evidence. I tell people, when you connect with people, see some evidence now. Because that's where I messed up. I would connect because they would talk good. They ain't got no evidence.
Yeah. That's that wise counsel part. That's that king and queen part.
Yes.
Establish their kingdom. Let's network.
Let's network. Have that evidence, network, and share the information. But yeah, definitely before you start connecting, and there's that level of excitement, and then sometimes there's that level of innocence because you're so close to what you're doing. But that's why you need that wisdom. But before you connect, make sure you You have evidence of some of these people you're connecting with. Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Listen, I hope that you all are enjoying the Love Seat podcast. We just want to share this awesome event that's coming up. It's called Maximize Life. And one of our co-hosts, she is a part of this great event. It is a Serenity Virtual Conference. It is taking place Saturday, July 30th at 9:30 a.m. And you can see the information, the phone number, and the other information on the screen. There's some other awesome ladies who will be speaking. But Andrea, who is one of our co-hosts, she is a lifestylist, and she will be a part of this awesome event. So please be sure to take down that information, make the phone calls, see how you can get connected. Show up for the event. This is going to be good stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. Super excited. So we are going to continue on with our show, and I'm excited to have Coach Pam. It's time to feel well with Coach Pam. Y'all know what I'm saying? We're going to give some love to Coach Pam. It's time to feel well with Coach Pam. And Coach Pam, I think it's so important that we take time to love our temples and do what is right as we take care of our bodies. And I know you have something near and dear to share tonight. So you have the floor, Coach Pam. What should we be doing in this season right now when it comes to our health and wellness?
Hello, I'm Coach Pam, and my goal is to encourage and help others to live a happy, healthy life and their best life. Are you living your best life? If not, why? How can you do better? The Bible says in 3 John 1 and 2, it says, Beloved, I wish above all things that we may prosper and be in health as our soul prospers. So tonight, I just want to discuss a little about breast cancer awareness. 1 in 8 women is diagnosed with breast cancer. And the most important thing you can ask your family is, who in the family has had cancer? Where was it? And what age were they? Because if there is a history of breast cancer in your family, you may want to talk to someone about genetic counseling to get a genetic testing. Because you can inherit this from your parents. It's actually a mutated genes, and that can determine if you are high risk or not, and determine if you need to go ahead and get mammograms at an early age for you or your daughter. Some of the reason why African Americans has more cancer, women have more cancer, is because some of them have grew up in low income areas where there was toxic waste, or companies like lead, metal, plastic companies that was in the air, and they had limited access to health care and also poor quality of food. But there are some organizations out there that give mammograms for free or low cost, such as the American Cancer Society, and also there's the National Breast Cancer Foundation. Early detection is the key. So it's best to start out doing visual exams of your own breast, and around 20 practice doing the exam, breast self-exams. A good idea maybe to do it once a month during the time of your menstrual cycle. And if you notice anything, please contact your doctor. Some of the ways to help reduce those risks is limit alcohol, maybe only 1 drink a day, and maintain some healthy weight, because by being overweight, that's a risk also. Also, be physical. Try to walk or do some type of aerobic, maybe 2.5 hours a week. Eat plenty fruits and vegetables, plants, grains, beans, and limit your sugar. Also limit processed meats, practice safe sex, and if you get pregnant, breastfeed if possible. This helps lower your risk also. And having more than one child also lower your risk.
Did you say having more than one child lowers
Yes.
your risk?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I don't have no children. No, I'm only messing. Go ahead, Coach Pam.
Wow.
Go ahead, Coach.
I'm learning something new tonight.
She said having more than one child.
Yes, that's what.
Well, I got some
articles have
nieces and
said.
nephews and godchildren, you know. Okay. All right, go ahead, Coach Pam. I'm only messing. Go ahead.
Okay. So it said avoid birth control pills if you're 35 and older, or if you smoke. And also, if you postmenopausal, uh, avoid taking those hormones if you reach menopause.
Oh, wow.
And one good thing to do is try to get your sleep because it helps build your immune system up. So those are my tips for today. And remember, you're too blessed to be stressed.
Ooh. Listen, Coach Pam, that was some good stuff. Now, you know, I have heard that birth control pills are, you know, they're not maybe the healthiest thing, or not to stay on them for a very long time. So it has been some studies done that to be mindful of that. And I didn't even know about the hormone pills if you're going through menopause.
Yes,
Wow.
because I'm a survivor. I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, and they don't recommend that I take any type of menopausal hormones pills.
Wow. You a 2-time breast cancer survivor.
Survivor, yes.
Listen.
God is good.
Listen. We are definitely showing love to you, and I'm telling you, it's one show. We just gonna have to just let us all just kind of have the floor and just give you a testimony because it's so powerful. But thank you for sharing that love of wellness. You know, this was some good information. Even like you were saying, getting a good night's rest or having a good bedtime routine helps to reduce. And Lord knows, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Yeah,
Me
that's
too.
good. But now let me ask you this, ladies, as co-hosts, how many of you all are consistent in getting your mammograms? If you are, put your hearts up. All right. Okay. We got to do it. And so, Coach Pam, what would you say to someone out there, maybe a lady who's listening, she's just scared. She's scared about going to get a mammogram. She's heard all kinds of stuff. And truth be told, it's not comfortable. It is not comfortable. But what would you tell her? Because we it's something we have to do. But what would you tell her to help, to get this mammogram that she needs to get done?
I would recommend she talk to a friend or take a friend with her. Ask a friend to go with her to get the mammogram.
Yeah.
A good friend that could say encouraging words and positive words to her, a friend or relative, their mother, sister, or anybody that might can encourage them and go with them to get it.
Yeah, that's good. So, listen, we're definitely sharing and showing love tonight. If you have not scheduled your mammogram, we here at the Love Seat Podcast, listen, we are just sharing love and that energy with you. You can do it, get it done. Have someone go with you, or even have someone on video, but just talk to you, while you're in the parking lot, or say a prayer with you before you walk in. But do it. Definitely get it done. Don't wait on it. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything to say about our topic on health and wellness with breast cancer awareness and being vigilant with that?
I definitely can relate to all of that. I lost my best friend at 30 from breast cancer, and
wow,
it sent me on a path of understanding different ways. I had been stopped taking birth control pills because I had so many health issues with it. But I definitely feel that that's information that's needed. I kind of take more of a holistic approach.
Yeah.
And I do a combination of frankincense, black seed, and olive oil. Actually rub that on my breast. What it does is it dissolves mutated cells. It actually eats them. The chemical compound of those kind of eats them. I normally have a lot of tissue in my breast. So I think when they have tissue in their breast, definitely want to make sure that they're doing those self exams, because it's very key to finding things.
Absolutely. Those self exams are key. Listen, I need you to put that put that what you just said in the chat, that oil or something you said.
Yeah.
Frank, put that in the chat.
Sure will.
Yeah, put that in there. That was good. That was good. Coach Pam, thank you so much. That was great stuff. And I know that, someone definitely has been encouraged. And just to know that you are a 2-time breast cancer survivor. And, we all in our either close family or niche have had someone affected. I'm definitely, sharing and showing love to my aunt, Auntie Bert. She is also a breast cancer survivor. And I know all of us have, someone in our family or a friend. But continue, showing that love, giving that love, and just making sure we take care of each other. Do those calls. Hey, when is your mammogram scheduled for the year? When are you going? Because we got to do it. We got to do it. Listeners, I hope that you are enjoying the show tonight. I'm so excited. My co-hosts are excited. And listen, everything that we've been talking about so far, gosh, it's been great. I mean, you've learned how to think the Solomon's way when it comes to your finances as entrepreneurs. You've learned different things about prevention when it comes to breast cancer, and things that you need to really pay attention to, and things that you must do for preventative care. I'm just saying. The Lovecast podcast it's the Love Seat podcast is where it's at. This is it. So I'm so glad that you are with us. And before we get into our next topic, we got something on our show called Love It or Leave It. Mm-hmm. Love it or leave it. Love it or leave it. I love this part of our show. Absolutely. So I'm gonna just share a topic, a scenario, an example. And if you love it, the co-hosts, we're gonna put our hearts up. But if we don't like it, we're gonna keep our hearts down. We're not gonna show love to that. All right. So that's how we do the love it or leave it. So our topic tonight is, y'all ready? Y'all ready? Our topic tonight is, should you get back with an ex? Love it or leave it? Oh! Wait, y'all, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. And there goes Sherry. All right, so Sherry, nobody else put their hearts up, but you did. So tell us really quickly your love for maybe, giving an ex a second chance, or a third, or a fourth.
Now I'm having a little delay in my audio, so hopefully it's not coming across, you guys. So good. An ex is somebody, in my opinion, somebody that you've had a long-term relationship with, and you were like almost on your way to the altar, but you didn't make it there. And when you build that kind of relationship with someone, the family becomes a part of your life. And I had an ex that we dated on and off for almost 20 years. We kept trying and we were never able to get it to work. But I developed a relationship with his family. So I still visit them. I still, he's unfortunately passed away from an asthma attack 10 years ago, but his family has been a part of my life for almost 30 years. And I feel like those relationships are key. And sometimes you need to grow. We were 16 when we met, and we kept, trying to make our relationship work through periods of our growth. And we just never were able to get that done. But that's not everybody's story. And I feel like sometimes when you can meet the love of your life when you're young, you just need time to mature and grow and get back and make those relationships work. I mean, I have friends who broke up and got married, had children and everything. So I just feel like it's not always a permanent ex when you break up with someone. It just really depends on that relationship and you two as individuals and really what you're trying to accomplish in that relationship. So you can absolutely make a relationship work with an ex. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, I'm almost persuaded. I'm almost, but listen, but that's good. That's good, Sherry. That is good. But before I comment on it, Rose and Andrea, I know y'all probably ready, but Rose, I'm gonna go to you first. What do you feel about it? Because you didn't put your heart up. So.
No. An ex is an ex for a reason. And I just think that in many relationships, or in some relationships, once they become an ex, there's you it's because you're different people than maybe what you were when you first started, or you start to see things in that individual that may not be moving along in the same path that you are. And just as you grow and mature, you end up finding out really what you want and what you need. And leaving that ex as an ex is really a good way to start to really develop who you want and what you want in your life, instead of going back to the past. Because many times you just go back because it's comfortable, not because it's good for you, because there's a sense of comfort, as opposed to moving forward and looking towards the future and growing and maturing in other ways. So I just think exes should stay exes. I've heard of relationships getting back together and working, but not for me.
Okay. I feel you. Andrew, did you want to comment on that at all? How you feel about it?
To be honest, I think you should be open-minded and be flexible. Everybody's situation is different. For me, I don't want to think of an ex because I've only been with one person. So, which is my husband. So I don't know how that feels. So I would say it's up to the individual in their relationship.
Yeah, I do think I do think that everybody's situation is different. I do believe that. And I have, Sherry, absolutely have heard of instances, stories where people who were even married and divorced got back together and remarried again, right? Not just even boyfriend, girlfriend, but I mean, they literally divorced and remarried again. So I have heard of those stories, and I've seen it. But it's just not for me. I just feel like you're an ex for a reason, and we keeping it moving. I don't know, but I do absolutely get that everyone's situation is different, and there are stories and situations where people have been able to make it work. They've been able to get back, and they've been able to make it work. But I do think it takes two. I do. And I don't think it's something you should do because, as Rose stated, because either you feel it's just comfortable, right? Because you're just going. I mean, you're going back into the same cycle. I just feel like we're gonna keep that ex. We're gonna keep that ex back there. We're gonna move on. But again, to those who have been able to get back, reconcile, and do that, I think that's great. I think that's great. And if it's meant to be, then it is meant to be. But yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything to say about it before we move on?
Yes, I'm like you. I think an ex is an ex for a reason. I think a lot of times people don't change. Maybe it could work if people go to counseling and try to get rid of some of the toxic things that may have happened in a relationship and the drama. But sometimes people don't change, and I think that it's time to move on to the next. And I actually did that. I'm a living testimony.
You moved on to the next, Coach Pam.
Move to next. Let the ex go and move next.
Oh gosh. But Sherry, to your point, because I don't want us to gang up on you, because you did put your heart up. But to your point, I think that it's beautiful. I do think that it's beautiful that you have been able to cultivate those relationships and continue those relationships and love in those relationships. And so kudos to that. And that is awesome. That is absolutely amazing, because a lot of people cannot do that, and it doesn't turn out that way. So so that's great that you're able to do that.
I think that's a real sign of another level of maturity,
Yeah,
Wow.
it really is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. When I go to California and I'm visiting my family, and if my ex-husband is at a function, we are cordial. We're like family. We're both remarried, and all that great stuff. But the maturity, it took some time for us to get to that place, but we ended up in that place, understanding that the greater picture is our children and our grandchildren, yes, grandbabies for me, and supporting them and being there for them. And so I just talked to I don't even want to say ex-mother-in-law, who's 96 years old,
Wow.
and for her to still be in her right mind and have a conversation and talk and just see how she was doing. Those things are still important. Those relationships do last.
Yeah, it's so important, and it's
They are.
priceless too.
It is.
Yeah,
They are.
yeah,
They really are. And I think that it is more of a having an unconditional love for a person,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
having maturity and accepting people for who they are along the road. So sometimes when you break up with people, it's really one-sided, sometimes. And I think
yeah,
when you sometimes revisiting relationships with ex, like my relationship with him helped me in other relationships, even in the midst of me going back to him, because it allowed me to see my growth um, as I was maturing through the years that we were trying to make our relationship work. He just had my heart. I just loved him more than anybody because, he was the man that I felt was for me. And God was like, but because I kept building that relationship, it matured me in a lot of ways. And I
yeah,
definitely think that, sometimes exes are very instrumental in our growth with other relationships. And
yeah.
I just feel like, it's just not always something to throw to the wayside, especially if you built a relationship with that person and their family. Because you
Yeah.
just know how it can help you grow and mature and, later on in life.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah, that is good stuff. Oh my gosh, I wish we could spend more time because that's yeah, we got a little, we heated up on that. Yeah, we got to talk more about that. But I do want to definitely. This is a great segue because our next co-host, Andrea, she is all about marriage and motherhood, and so I know she's got some great stuff for us tonight. So Andrea, what do you have for us tonight?
So I'm going to talk about forgiveness.
Oh
Like
wow.
we're talking about relationship, and you're witnessing somebody that's been married 22 and a half years with my husband. So let's keep in mind we're all human beings, right? We all are going to make mistakes. We definitely need to keep that mindset. And so in relationships, we need to learn how to forgive quickly so we can stay open to our spouse about their feelings, um, stay intimate with them. If we're holding all this resentment, we're not going to be able to love them, express them freely, right? And what humbles me is when I think about Jesus Christ, about him forgiving me for my sins and the mistakes that I have made. I'm able to humble myself down towards my husband and be able to forgive him, to realize, hey, I'm human. I make mistakes. He makes mistakes. And so we have to stay open minded. Okay. And one of the things I realize in marriage is we have to set a realistic expectation. We don't communicate enough. We don't express our feelings in a correct manner. And so that part can cause unforgiveness, right? So I got a few tips.
Okay.
Take your expectation to God. That's the
That's
first
good.
thing. Pray about it. And then second, go to your spouse and express your feelings. That doesn't mean you hold that all in. You need to tell your spouse exactly how you feel in a wonderful, respectful manner, right? And then, like I said before, give your expectations to God after that conversation and trust that He's going to handle the situation. And then let's keep ourselves humble. Let's examine ourselves, see if we're overreacting or if we're not. And also, the fifth thing I want to leave at, if it's very serious, go to counseling. Now, men don't like that necessarily, but I recommend it for every marriage. Don't just go to counseling when things are blowing up. Go to counseling when you're happy, when you're sad, so that your relationship can grow, right? And also, if you're not comfortable with counseling, try marriage retreats. So I've been married 22 years. I say out of those years, 15 of those years, me and my husband have went on a retreat. So I just hope that helps you with those tips.
Liz,
Well,
oh my gosh, that was good. That was good. That was good.
that's
Listen,
good.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh, Andrew, that was good. I love that you said forgive quickly, ma'am. That was good.
Mm.
That was that was good. I'm just saying, we here at the Love Steve podcast. We're gonna keep it real. And our co-host, expert on marriage and children, said forgive quickly. So I'm just saying, we got to do that. And all of those points that you gave, Andrea, were powerful. But I love the first point that you said is to take your expectation to God. Ma'am, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. I definitely want us to, gosh, we are like running out of time here. I definitely want us to revisit some of the points for our next show, so we can talk a little bit more about those because I know we all can, chime in and give some feedback on some of the things that you have said. But I love also before we move on to Rose that you said, hey, go to counseling not just when stuff blows up, but go to counseling when everything is good in the household. Yeah, that's good. Building a healthy foundation. One of the things that my husband and I do every week is coffee and chat, and we started that when we were dating and when he was courting me, all that good stuff. But we started coffee and chat, and even in marriage, we continue coffee and chat. And even my family, they know, oh, y'all doing coffee and chat. I'm like, yeah, coffee and chat. And so it's the time where it's openness, it's transparency. That foundation is set, so we can talk and discuss little and big things. But it works, and so yeah, I appreciate tonight. What you said was so powerful. So thank you for sharing that, Andrea. This was good stuff. Listen, we cannot close our show without having Triple R you know, come to the stage. You know what I mean? Listen, Rose Sakante, she is amazing, and she is all about relationships, and she's all about religion, and it's just Rose. This Rose Sakante. So Rose, what
Yeah.
you have for us tonight?
I have some good stuff, and I'm so glad that Andrea went before me, talking a little bit about marriage because she actually mentioned something that I'm bringing to the podcast this afternoon, and that's communication. And because that is key in any relationship, whether it's marriage, friendship, sisterhood, you have to have good lines of communication. So I'm going to drop two basic nuggets this evening for our podcast listeners to really consider. And the first one is being purposeful in your listening. So just remember that being purposeful in your listening, which really means that you are listening to receive. You're not listening to react. You're not listening to jump to a decision or make assumptions or to start to negotiate. You are actually receiving the information and being receptive with ears and heart open, and really the heart being open to receive. So, in order for that to work in any relationship, the person that's communicating should make sure that the receiver who you're talking to is in a good place. Just like Carenda said, her coffee and chat. That is a specific time to sit down and have those open conversations. So you may want to communicate something to your spouse or significant other or to a friend or even a coworker. You want to make sure they're in the right position that they can really receive what you're going to communicate with them first, and that they can have an open heart and open ears. So you may not want to jump into a conversation as soon as your husband or wife or whoever comes home and immediately start launching, this happened and that happened. And oh my God, you want to give them an opportunity and maybe even ask them are you ready for this type of conversation before you kind of dive in there and start to have that conversation. The other type of listener or the other type of communication is really passive communication or being a passive listener. And being a passive listener means that you just say, yeah, oh, okay, all right, yeah. I hear you. You're multitasking. You may be on your phone texting. You are you're multitasking in your mind. See, that's what I do. I multitask in my mind. Someone's talking to me, and I'm thinking about all these other things that I could be doing. I should be doing. I might even tell you, tell me what time it is. Don't build me a clock. I just want you to get to it because I'm so busy. So I'm the type of person that you have to definitely make sure that I'm ready to receive and that my mind and my heart is clear so that I can receive whatever you're communicating. But that passive listener also is that person that is ready to defend very quickly. They're ready to start to talk about, they haven't really sat back to actually receive and hear what you're saying. Passive communication can also be shown in your disposition. You don't have to say a word to show someone you're not interested in listening. And so being a passive communicator, you have to be really conscious of that. And it's just really a self-check, to ask yourself, which one are you? Are you a purposeful listener and communicator? Or are you a passive listener and communicator? And if so, how can you start to implement the other side of the coin in being purposeful? Because in any relationship, most relationships will die because of lack of communication. And I don't even say lack of communication, but lack of good communication. I say if you're yelling and screaming at each other, you're communicating okay. You're communicating.
Right.
It's not using good communication.
It's not good communication. It's not healthy communication.
It's not healthy.
Yeah. And I think that nonverbal piece is, because you can communicate, like you said, nonverbally, just with your body language, your facial expressions. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't have a poker face. So
I don't. I've actually, Carenda, had to really work on the face, and I'd have a good friend of mine at work. She would nudge me and say, and then she'd look at me, she'd say, "It's your face."
I like that. Yeah.
Real quick, because my face was saying what I was thinking.
Yes.
So
Rose,
we need that.
Yeah, we need that. Absolutely. And I want us to definitely, in our next show and listeners, please save the date. It will be Monday, May 9th. Let's unpack that a little bit more, and we will chime in some more regarding what you talked about. Andrea, I want to talk about on the next show on May 9th, how do you know if you have really forgiven someone? How do you know, like, you truly have forgiven someone? Like, you can say, I forgive you, but how do you know? So let's unpack that more next show. And Rose, let's talk more about this passive listener versus purposeful listener. And I love what you said about, even saying to that person, is this a good time? Is this a good time for us to have this conversation? But ways in which we can really be aware and work on being better as listeners, because it's so important. But yeah, for me, I don't know about y'all, but I don't like to be piecemeal. Please don't piecemeal me. Just like you said, Rose, tell me what it is. Tell me. You building that clock, and I just need to know what time is it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Listen, we are out of time, but we are never out of love. We have so much love to give, and we hope that you truly have enjoyed our show on tonight. But really quick, before we close out, I just want to ask Sherry Monet, Rose Sacante, what do you all love about Hampton Roads? Real quick, what do you love?
Oh my gosh.
Hampton Roads is definitely coming up with helping entrepreneurs the Black Brand Business event I went to a couple of months ago was just all about local people. So I do love that we are starting to actually branch out and help
Yeah.
um, Black
Help
businesses
entrepreneurs.
and small businesses
I
get
love
the
it.
tools and resources to grow.
I love it. Rose, real quick, what you love about Hampton Roads?
Oh my God. I think Sherry just was reading my mind. I love the fact that as a small business, I was able to open a business in an area that predominantly was not very open to Black businesses or businesses of color. And so that's something that I love, something I wasn't able to do in a state, California, that is known to be a melting pot. I was able to come out here and actually do and see God's vision come through. So with Sherry, I'm all about Hampton Roads and the way that they have embraced small businesses and minorities and
Yeah.
helping us grow. Yeah.
Yeah, much, much, much love. All right, Coach Pam, be ready next for our next show on May 9th to be ready to tell us what you love about Texas. We want to know. We want to know. Listeners, we hope that you felt the love tonight. Be sure to join us for our next show Monday, May 9th at 7 p.m. And we are going to be celebrating mothers. So if you want to give your mother a shout out, be sure to email us, reach us on our social media handles, and we want to shout out your mom. We're going to be talking about motherhood and the love of our mothers. So be sure to check us out on Monday, May 9th. Thank you to our producer, Ron, for holding us down tonight. And thank you again to my co-host, Sherry Monet, Coach Pam, Andrea Hayes, and Rose LeConte for sharing so much love. Be sure to follow us again on social media. Once again, I am your host. I am your girl, Carenda Deonne. Remember to keep your heart up just because we love you and God loves you more. Until next time, love yourself fully, freely, and unconditionally.
Yes.